So a pretty popular BJJ brand has done something recently that has put the jiu-jitsu community in an uproar. And today we're going to talk about it. So the brand that we're talking about is actually called Hyperfly. Hyperfly actually makes a lot of primarily gis, but I think they do rash guards and they do other things. And they're pretty big in the jiu-jitsu community.
Okay.
They sponsor professional athletes. They do a lot of brand work and collaboration work with different jiu-jitsu teams and stuff like that.
So what did they do?
So what they did is actually something pretty controversial, and I'm here for all of the bad takes.
Oh, you're here
today.
For it.
I'm here for that, but I'm here to make all the bad takes
today.
So, and you're going to be probably arguing with me a little bit today, but what they did is they decided to do a collaboration with Playboy. Playboy, the adult men's magazine.
But why?
And because they are essentially creating a line or some kind of a collaboration that is putting attractive women, probably, if I had to guess, because it's Playboy, in a very sexualized way in gis. They're actually calling it the gi spot. So, which, as a marketer, I have to say that's a pretty clever name. As a marketer, that's a pretty clever name. It's like, okay, yeah, the gi spot. Okay. The problem becomes the issue of over-sexualizing women in sports. And this is where a lot of the jiu-jitsu community is in an uproar about it, because the over-sexualization of women in sports, they feel detracts from the respect women should have as competitors.
I agree.
Okay, video done. So, I wanted to talk about it a little bit because it is a controversial topic, and it's not just isolated to jiu-jitsu. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
In all sports that females are in, minus maybe the WNBA.
Poor ladies.
There is a trend to over-sexualizing women. It's very common in MMA. Mm-hmm. Very common in MMA. It's getting to be even more common in things like boxing and bare knuckle boxing. Which may be different reasons for that, but I'm curious to hear your take on this. Does the collaboration with a gi company working with Playboy specifically in this way with this brand, like the gi spot brand thing, offend you?
It kind of. And the only reason that I want to say yes is because I understand collaborations. I understand marketing. I don't like it, but I understand. I understand that it serves a purpose, but I don't understand how marketing and collabing with Playboy is supposed to help you sell gis. Like women
Sex sells.
Yeah, but women aren't running around in gis naked.
No, but they are trying to put their Playboy logo on the gis.
But why?
Well, I mean, and this might be like a hyper, lack of a better term, a fuckboy thing to do, but there's a lot of guys and women who will wear apparel and things that are like Playboy, Playboy sunglasses, Playboy shirts, Playboy stuff. And
apparel,
fine. And guys, I just call you fuckboys because come on, man. It's like, what are you trying to do if you're wearing Playboy shirt and white sunglasses?
Women do it. Women do the same thing. We wear Gucci.
Well, Gucci is
a
bougie brand.
Well, but
like, what about the juicy?
But
what is it? Juicy on the butt. Juicy.
But I mean,
whatever.
Apparel makes sense, but like a gi is very specific to a very specific sports line. Like, you know what I mean? Like that doesn't make any sense. Like that's not going to help, at least in my opinion. Like that's not where your marketing wants to go. That's like you and I trying to market our gym to homeless people. Like, they don't care. They don't even got money.
That's an interesting take because I don't feel like that's the same. And the reason I don't feel like it's the same is because sex sells.
Well,
and Playboy sells.
I actually hate that sex sells. I hate it.
So Playboy sells. And but it's specifically the audience. And I think that the biggest issue right here isn't that people won't be willing to spend the money on that, because I don't think that's true. I think that a lot of people would be willing to spend the money. I think that the issue that a lot of people have is, how does it set women back in their progress of being respected for the sports that they do?
Oh, I understand that argument. I guess I'm just coming from I don't understand why they're doing it.
Well, sex sells. It's money. I mean, it's like if you put like, well, how many idiots do you see? And I've seen a lot of them over the years, maybe not as much anymore, men who wear the Playboy brand clothes. And I think it's silly, because it's like, what are you trying to front?
So are they just trying to sell all their gis to men who aren't actually active in the sport?
I think it's a way to, I don't know if it's like a, I don't know what their audience in marketing. The biggest thing that you want to do in marketing, one of the biggest things that you want to do in marketing, is have an audience to fit your product.
Yeah.
Product market fit.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't understand.
I'm not sure what their audience is in this case. It's like, are you selling it to men or are you selling it to women? Because most of the time, Playboy itself is a man's brand.
Correct.
It is specifically tailored to men to look at, and Playboy itself isn't even like a very racy magazine compared to some others. Like when I was coming up, Penthouse, Hustler, a number of others that I remember were like straight,
nude.
No, Playboy is too, but it was just straight like sex, just straight hard. I don't know what I can say on YouTube, but it's straight corn,
okay,
right? Straight corn. So I think that's the safe word for YouTube. but the Playboy was like the classy, like kind of like girl next door, not like active scenes of stuff. So it is an interesting brand collaboration, because it is in a way using sex to sell specific items, clothing lines in this. And it is just like certain brands like OF. I'm not going to say what OF stands for, but OF stands for, you have a lot of men that I've seen, even in our gym, who wear OF branded rash guards. And it's like funny.
Do they have an OF account?
No, it's just, they're just like, just a big white rash guard that says OF.
There's like I'm saying, like,
but everybody knows what that is.
I get rash guards and shirts and shorts.
But
I
it's
don't
like
understand
funny.
the gi.
It's funny. What's the difference? What's the difference between a rash guard and a gi? No gi versus gi.
I don't know. I guess there is none. I just don't. Like, typically for me in my brain, the way I process things when people do collabs or do big marketing pushes, which kind of feels like what this is it's because they're trying to widen their audience. But I mean, like, I just don't know how many people who look at Playboy in any realm are going to look at it and be like, I'm going to go buy a gi.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So you don't see the cross-pollination between brands. You don't see the collab being of or within a similar audience.
Correct.
Okay. So this is a weird, in my opinion, a weird direction to take this conversation.
Sorry.
Because the biggest issue that they have, you're thinking of it from specifically a business point of view, where everybody online is thinking of it from a sexualization of women.
Oh no, I know that's what you, but like for me, like my first go-to is like, why? Like, why even do...
But you don't have the problem with the sexualization part.
No, I do.
And how do you feel about the sexualization of women in sports? Like CrossFit, if we made a brand, CrossFit and, I don't know, a shoe company, and maybe Reebok already had one. I think Nike already had one with CrossFit. But what if they made one with an apparel company that was Victoria's Secret made a CrossFit style, and it was check out our rack.
All right. So in this,
and it's like because rack in jiu-jitsu, in CrossFit is holding a bar, right?
Correct.
Right.
So in La La Land, it would drive me crazy. And the reason that I say we have to live in La La Land is because every single man out there would hate on it. Oh, why are you putting men in women's underwear? Because everybody.
No, I'm saying for women.
No, I know, but every single man out there hates on CrossFit women because they all look like men.
Oh, I see where you're going with
this.
That's
why we have to live in La La Land for this.
Okay, I see where you're going. I thought you meant like literally men. I'm like, no, this is a women's brand.
No, every man hater on the internet. You have big muscles. You look like a man. Anyhow, I don't appreciate any company. I mean, I don't even appreciate Victoria's Secret in the way they advertise currently. I don't like the over sexualization of women in any market.
Okay.
I've never liked it. For a lot of different reasons. But I do understand that it sells. I don't like that it sells. And I think that
But you don't argue against nature, essentially.
Well, I don't want to say it's nature. I think it's what we as a society have.
I think it's 100% nature. We are biologically as men to be attracted, like overly so much so to be attracted to sexualization of women. Like it sucks, but like a 16-year-old, I think they track this, a 16-year-old man or a 17-year-old man thinks of sex every 10 seconds or 15 seconds or something like that. And then as you get older, obviously it goes down. And then there's obviously like a certain societal and things that we've done to protect women and put women like obviously laws against it, obviously cultural things like, hey, it's creepy to stare at a woman. It's, creepy to act like this. So like we find ways to limit it, but our lizard brains in here have been biologically evolved for the last 100,000 years to be like, I need to procreate. So they do that. So naturally, marketers say, well, if I'm trying to get an individual to pay more attention to me than the other brand over here in my competition, I'm going to tap into this highly devolved but very present lizard brain element of needing to reproduce.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I understand. I don't like it.
So
I think it's dumb.
I think I kind of take it a little bit of a different way. And the reason I do this is because I know people who are very hypersexual in their branding of their like fighters specifically. And I know people who are very anti this. And where I'm going to kind of go with this is a little bit of a different take. And it might not be a good take and people might disagree with me on this. And I'm okay with that. Yell at me in the comments. Tell me how much I suck at jiu-jitsu and how I'm not good at anything. Like everybody else does in the comments. The interesting part of this is we have to look at the way that society and big companies, and I know a lot of people hate talking about big companies because they're all money hungry, anti-capitalist, blah, blah, blah. They're all trying to burn us. It's all for the profits. It is. All right. Let's be completely honest. I'm pro-capitalism to a degree, not crony capitalism, not government infringement and all that stuff, but I am pro-capitalism. I am pro individuals creating and innovating in a free market system. But unfortunately, when you start doing this and when it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, it becomes about bottom line revenue.
Yeah.
And when you have bottom line revenue, you have decisions that stop being about the sport and start being about money. And that's where I start losing it. That's where I start getting like, oh, okay, we've gone too far. This isn't about making better quality drugs at a more affordable price because you're competing in the market type capitalism innovation.
Yeah.
This becomes a greedy, like I'm taking advantage of everybody, screw all of these workers, screw all of these people, screw all of the, and everything just climbs this like economic ladder of further and further expense screwing people over. Mm-hmm. The problem then becomes how people are doing it. And the first example I'm going to cite is something that just recently came up with Khabib Nurmagomedov, who is a former UFC champion. And he was speaking about how he hates the UFC now. Or he doesn't hate the UFC, but he dislikes the way that the UFC is going now.
Okay.
And The reason he says that is because the UFC has been having a lot more cutting of fighters, cutting of their athletes that have winning records. So in the UFC, it used to be you have, if you're on a 3-loss trend, so you've lost your last 3 fights, you're basically on thin ice, you're going to be cut. They only want like fighters who are exceptional, fighters who are at the very top, or fighters who are very large, like they put on a good fight. So there were fighters that would go on a 3-fight losing streak, but they were so entertaining. Like they would always go out there and bang, and they would always everybody would want to see them fight because of how chaotic it was. Yeah. Right? Well, now it's at the point where you have fighters that are on winning streaks that are being cut from the UFC. And the reason being is because they're not as active or popular on social media. They don't have a big following. They're not driving in a crowd. And it's something that we've been kind of working on as well within our own team. And especially discussing, if you want to be a fighter, it's no longer, the sport has evolved. It is no longer just about how good you are. It is simultaneously how good you are and how big your online presence is. Because when it comes down to it, companies, if I have 2 fighters, and this guy is 10-0, and this guy is 9-1. All right, we'll say it up like that. This guy is 10-0, this guy is 9-1 right here. But the 9-1 guy over here has 20,000, 30,000 followers on social media, TikTok, Instagram, whatever, like maybe on multiple platforms, like 30-some thousand people who watch and actively engage with him. The 10-0 guy has a following of 3,000 people on Instagram, right? The company says, which one of these guys is going to get more butts in seats and ticket sales? The guy who's 9-1 with 30,000 people that watch his moves and his movements and like follow him, or the guy who has a 4,000, 5,000 person Instagram presence but he's 10-0. Yeah. Numbers wise, they don't care if you're 10-0. They care that you have 30 to 40,000 people that already follow you.
I hate the world we live in.
It does. It sucks. And it sucks for fighters who are putting in all this work to be like, oh yeah, not only are you a fighter now, but you have to be a marketer. Yeah. You have to be a social media marketer. You have to build this brand, this personal brand that makes it so you are appeasing the people who make all of the money off of you. And that's an issue. But the thing is that the way that women and men work right now is men have a pretty significant, unfortunately, or fortunately, advantage in sports. Yeah. We are physically able to do more dynamic, faster, stronger feats. That's not to say women, I personally, you know this, I hate men's soccer. I hate men's soccer. I think they are a bunch of Oscar Myers. Yeah. All right. And I just heard that term. Somebody called somebody an Oscar Mayer. And I was like, I'm going to use that. They are Oscar Myers, man. They are like flopping. They're like all of the people that you didn't like on the playground as a kid who would play sports and they would fake injuries and then blame other people or like whine. And it's like they collected all of those guys and they made them professional soccer players. However, the women's soccer, I love women's soccer. I like it because I was invested in Women's World Cup because women get after it. They're like one step below hockey players. Yeah. Like they try to check each other. They try, like there was a UNM girl that got banned for grabbing one girl's ponytail and yanking her on the ground.
Well, you're not allowed to do that.
All right, I think you should be.
No.
All right, I think you kind of should be.
Sports.
I think you kind of should be. Anyway, so that's why I like it. So in most scenarios, the men have the significant advantage. Men are going to run faster. Men are going to hit harder. Men are going to be more dynamic. So it's easier to sell. And in most cases, and I will say this as well from the money perspective, who watches sports?
I know, men.
Men. Women don't care as much about sports.
All you dumb men.
They made this argument about the WNBA. And they were like, well, the WNBA players should be paid more. You look at any of their like stadiums or their stuff and it's empty. It's almost always empty. And they're subsidized by the NBA. The reason being is because a whole bunch of people watch the NBA and a lot of people don't watch the WNBA. Yeah. So then the argument becomes like, okay, well, we need to have more people watch the WNBA. And so like the WNBA players were getting all upset about it. And they were like, well, it's just because men are sexist or bigoted against women. And it's like, okay, here's the thing. If the amount of women that were coming out pro the women getting more money in the WNBA actually watched the WNBA and actually showed up and bought tickets to the WNBA, they wouldn't be losing money. Like, it's just, there's your demographic. Like, the demographic who is preaching for this isn't actually showing up to pay for it, so they're not making any money.
Yeah.
The problem is that the men are athletic. They can actually do it like in a way that make men want to watch it. And for some reason, the same thing isn't happening with WNBA. And I'm not hating on any WNBA or NBA player. I don't really even watch basketball, but it's just a hot button topic. But the thing is that we compete in different ways. Men compete on physical traits. Women, and this is just biologically, I'm thinking, and evolutionarily, women compete on a completely different spectrum of traits. And most of those can be used either via sexually or via communication or via like for example, and a lot of people don't like hearing this, and I'm not even saying this in a derogatory way, gossip. All right. Gossip was actually from I believe it was a behavioral psychologist that I read about this. And the reason that gossip has evolved into a lot of women, more predominantly women than men, is because it was like a survival practice within tribes. All right. When we were all living in caves, women took care of the environment, men hunted and gathered. And when you're taking care of an environment, you have to know information.
Yeah.
You have to know the logistics of the environment. So you have to communicate a lot. So you get really good at being like, so-and-so over here is spreading a disease right here that's going to kill the tribe. We need to shun them. So-and-so over here is, like trying to, do this dangerous thing or like talk to this other clan that wants to kill us or whatever. So it became a survivalist thing, but it's evolved beyond that. So where we now have, where we kind of just men, we talk crap about it, but it's not bad. It's just women are very, very good at collecting and analyzing information. That's why there's actually a lot of very successful female CEOs in the world right now, and it's becoming bigger and bigger because of females' ability to multitask and collect information in a lot of ways is better and more adapted through biology than a man's is.
Yeah.
Where a man is very good at completing single tasks at a time because that's what we were evolved to do. So when we're kind of talking about competition in this way and we're talking about over-sexualization of things, if you're trying to get butts in seats to get money, a man has to rely on physical traits. I have to be able to punch harder, jump higher, run faster. Women, you have to sell a story. All right. If I were a marketer, I would be selling a story. I'd be like, okay, well, this woman is like really dislikes this woman because of this background. Or you can go the easy button route and just say, let's just hypersexualize all of them so our audience, which is predominantly men, watch them.
Yeah.
Which sucks. I do agree. I will say I'm not in favor of it. Like, I don't like it. I'm just saying from a biological standpoint, if your audience is predominantly men and you want to get men to buy tickets to a male-dominated sport to watch women do it, one of the easiest shortcut BS ways to do it is creating it hypersexualized. And if you look at the internet, this is very apparent in almost every single sport. Like, what do the men focus on?
Yeah.
They don't focus on the women's like physical feats. Some of them do. Some of the good ones do. But some of them are like, oh yeah, she's wearing like women's volleyball. Like, oh, they like, look at all those really small bikinis. Or women's long jump. Yeah. Like I just saw that, and the girls wearing the short shorts, which you also mentioned that you had a problem with.
Yeah. Well, I did, and then I did a little bit of research.
Okay.
And I found that it only took until 2012 for it
used to be uniform was the argument.
Yes.
So it's
but in 2012
sexualization was a uniform, which was probably, like you were said, probably created by a man.
Correct. It was created
to objectify these women or do something
to draw
like
crowds
that.
To
draw crowds
to watch the Olympic sports. But in 2012 they changed regulations and they've become a little bit more, I don't want to say lax in what they're able to wear. Like they still have to be all uniform. So if they all have to match, right? So in volleyball, if it's multiple, they all have to be wearing the same thing. But now they have more options available to them. They can wear shorts, they can wear long sleeves, they can wear a bikini, they can wear, right? They have options, but
that changed in 2012.
Yes.
So then all the ones that you're seeing modern day that are doing these are purposeful.
Correct.
Okay.
And it's purposeful for two fronts. So I researched volleyball, I researched gymnastics, and I researched track, because those are the three main.
You see a lot of the video clips showing a girl finishing the long jump, and obviously she's got big glutes and she's got big legs because she's a freaking long jumper, and she's pulling her shorts out of her butt crack. Yeah. And all of the guys are like, "Oh my God," on the comments. All these simp guys on the comments are all, I freaking hate it. And they're all talking about it, but it's interesting to know now that those uniforms are in most cases purposeful.
Yeah,
because I was kind of on when you started bringing it up,
you were on my side.
That I was just like, oh, it's uniform. And I was just like, well, that's messed up.
Yeah.
I would be pissed off if I had a daughter and they said that you need to wear this because it's uniform. I'd be like, let's fight.
Yeah.
Like me and you don't make my daughter do that.
They have a little bit more options. I mean, their options aren't great in the sense of like it's still all spandex, but that's also for performance, right? Like if you're running track and 1/10 of a second makes a difference on you being either gold or silver, you're going to wear as tight of things as you possibly
can. You don't want things baggy and catching wind. You don't want resistance.
Right?
You want speed stripes. You want to be painting like fire on your things to make you run faster.
Yeah. So I mean, why the shorts are so short, I don't know. Maybe that's a personal preference on that athlete, because it gives them the most mobility. Like you wouldn't know until you actually spoke to them.
I know in Muay Thai that's why it is. Like you have guys, like people come into Muay Thai and they're like, why are the guys wearing all these really short shorts? Yeah. And it's like so you can kick somebody in the head without your shorts pulling your leg down. Right. It's like it's all mobility.
So like the feminist side in me was like, man, I hate this. This is stupid. We should never be advertised like this. And then like the competitive female sports side of me, once I start reading and learning about those kinds of things, I'm like, oh, well, that makes sense. Like sand volleyball, the reason most of those women wear the tiny bikinis that they wear is because it reduces the amount of sand chafing that they get while they're playing.
Huh. The more you know, Star.
Right? And so, and so like once you start like not reading just the headlines and reading some of the research.
And just the sexualization arguments and stuff like that. And it's like,
You're like, okay, well, that makes sense. Like, do we need to be filming up their ass the whole time that they're playing? No, that's on society, right? That's on camera. That's on marketing. That's on trying to sell the viewers to keep you there watching you.
Yeah, because honestly, and it sucks, and I'm not pro this, so don't come at me in the comments again. I'm not pro this, but would women's or even men's, I think men's volleyball is, anyway.
A lot of women watch men's volleyball.
Really?
Well, because they're in the shorts, tight, no shirts.
The pendulum has swung the other way, have we?
We as women want to sit here and say we hate how much sexualization is out there, but it's done on the flip side. Watch any of the perfume commercials that are trying to sell men's fragrances. Every single one of them are models to the point of like chiseled abs. Sexy. All of them are not wearing shirts, or if they're wearing shirts, they're all open. They're all buttoned down, but they're open. They're not buttoned.
And we can make the same argument towards
it's out there.
Women's books too.
Yeah,
I always make fun of you about
it. I know. It's out there, and that's why I was saying I just don't like it in general. I mean, I definitely hate it more on the women's side because it's more in our faces than anything else, but it's out there.
It is, but again, from the biological standpoint, all of these companies are about money and sex sells. Yeah. And if your audience is primarily men, like it makes logical sense. It sucks, but it makes logical sense that you're going to over-sexualize women if you want more men's money. Right? Because men are just going to pay. They're dumb. They're going to pay for that stuff just because of the hot women on there. Just like look at any of the Instagram comments on these model pages and look how many simp guys are trying to talk to them like they have any kind of chance at all with this individual. it's disturbing, and it's sad that our society goes that way. So in this case with Playboy, it's interesting that your take changed, or that you had the take of like to marketing audiences and like who buys from this? Like what was their end goal of trying to sell with this?
I just think it's dumb.
Because I was confused, and I'm just like, I'm thinking from a respect thing, and I don't even know why you're on this the Playboy brand.
Dumb.
It's like
that you as a jiu-jitsu company, primarily gi, I understand that you sell a few some other things, but primarily gi is doing a Playboy spread. Like it just doesn't compute in my brain.
And I have no problem with the spread. I have no problem with Playboy.
But I also...
Like, cool. Every what is it? Different strokes for every for all folks or whatever. I know. Use that pun on purpose.
But I think the main reason that it's caused such a divide in the jiu-jitsu realm is because women, alongside with intelligent and good-hearted men, have worked really hard to create jiu-jitsu as being a place for self-defense and power for women, and that this feels like it's stripping that away.
There's also a current push right now to have women paid more in jiu-jitsu sports. So like ADCC, IBJJF.
I think they should. Like some of those athletes are really good.
No, I agree.
They still draw crowds.
As long, and that's for me, that's the thing. It's like there should not be a lack of equalization in pay anywhere, but it should be equal on the basis of merit for the company. Basically, there's an old marketing term, and it's basically you get paid in proportion to the problems that you solve. All right. So if I'm a company owner and you are a custodian versus you are a nuclear physicist, right? Am I going to pay you guys the same? Well, equity would say you guys should all work at the company, you should all be paying the same. It's like, no, you have a PhD and you are probably an entry-level individual, or maybe you've been in for a little while. And this is not knocking on custodial workers. This is just like, or an admin or anything like that. There's just different levels to it, right? And people who've like, I got like a really high education here, or I did not, right? And then that shouldn't be, there's an equality in the sense of how much value you are bringing to the profit of the company or the success of the company or whatever.
Yeah.
But in the case of like women and men's sports and things like that, it should be 100% based on like numbers. It's like if you're a female, you're a Ronda Rousey, and you are bringing more money and more butts in seats than say most of the men on the card, 100% you should be paid more. Like 100%. Like why wouldn't you be? They're like, it doesn't make sense not to be.
Yeah.
But if you're on the other side of that, and that in like the case of like some of these, like the WNBA side or whatever, that analogy, if you aren't bringing numbers, why should you be paid more? Like that just seems like participation money. You know, it almost, I would be insulted personally. Be like, oh, because you're a woman, you get paid more. If you're talking to me, it's like, oh, because you're a woman, you should be paid more or the same as this other individual, even though the 99% of the brand is built on them. I'd be like, why? And he's like, well, because you're a woman. I'd be like, screw you. You know, like why does, like, that's an insult to me. Yeah. You know, it's like an insult to my value because you think that you're giving me charity. You know, I don't need your damn charity. Like, but in the same sense, from the women's jiu-jitsu side, when women are bringing in and putting butts in seats and doing all that stuff, amazing. And I think they should. And I think they should have the equal push, because I do think that that's where some of these companies mess up, is that do they have equal marketing for men and women?
No.
And no, they don't. Yeah. But is that equal marketing, lack of equal marketing, because there's a disparity in draw? I don't know. And it might be. And I might have people in the comments saying like, well, there's the reason that there's not equal marketing is because there's less people that want to do it. So why would you invest in the marketing on a product, in this case, that doesn't have the same return on investment?
Yeah, you know? But I mean, the counter argument to that is everybody has started with nothing and marketing got them to where they are.
So the argument should be the long-term investment on how much we should be investing in to build it up.
I mean, yeah.
I can see that.
Like, I mean, you can't say...
But how far do you go with it?
Well, I think
before you cut it, you're like, okay, this, like, how many products do you know of in the realm of like just internet sales had a really good like trend at the beginning and then became less and less like interesting for people to buy?
I don't know. I think that all of it is just, there's so much gray area in all of it that it is, and
it's really hard to have, because I'm not here to try to insult or piss anybody off here, and usually I am, but in this regard I'm not, because I'm just trying to have like an intellectual debate on or thought on this. And I actually like it if somebody told me like, hey Rick, this is actually wrong because women put in all of this effort into here and we actually have more numbers in here. I'm going to ask you guys in the comments, if you have that kind of argument towards me, you better come showing me some facts, because I'm sick of this hyperbole. Well, women have actually 10 times more like people watching them than men do. And it's like,
you better have the
what
receipts
statistic
to back that.
did you use to come up with this? Because I hear this all the time in all kinds of different realms. And somebody will come up with this wild ass number over here. It's like, well, this is actually blah, 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 blah. Like, and it never actually comes up. Like, it's like, well, this is actually one fringe case that you're referencing, and it doesn't actually represent the entire like basis of this industry. Like, you're using this one thing to like a false equivalency false equivalency for the rest of the industry. It doesn't make sense. It's like, I just want to see it black and white. If they have, and there's this like huge like amount of of evidence, I'll be freaking my pitchfork and torch with you. You know, it's like, we ride at dawn. Let's go. Like, because this is really an injustice at this point. But it's interesting how the sexualization element of this, certain women actually I've seen are totally fine with it.
Yeah.
And others are like, we ride at dawn, you know? And it's like,
there's always going to be that kind of divide in the female society, because you have females that enjoy the sexualization, like they feel good being in that role. They like,
there's a whole movement of women who find it empowering to wear less clothes and be like have that like that kind of, I guess, freedom or attention or whatever you want to call
it.
Control, freedom. I mean, realistically, you're leaning into your superpower. Yeah. You know, you as a woman are leaning into your superpower over men.
You're always going to have half that are that way, and then you're always going to have the other half that is the...
And then there's also the monetary value. It's like the women who build up those audiences, like we were talking about with the UFC. The women who build up those audiences through sexualization get paid more money. And it sucks.
But there has been a few that haven't over-sexualized themselves, that have drawn big crowds. Sure. They're not the norm, I will agree.
But it's like, you're giving people a choice between the easy road or the hard road.
But that's what I'm saying.
A lot of people, not everybody, but a lot of people will take the easy road.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. You're always going to have that divide. You're always going to have women that will lean into that like it, that are comfortable in it, that are pro it, and think that every woman should be that empowered and feel that empowered. And then you're always going to have the other half of women that are like, I don't like it.
That crosses the line.
Yep, it's not
too much.
okay.
It's disrespectful. And I see that. And I kind of see that, because I wouldn't want my daughter to have, and I don't have a daughter, but I wouldn't want my daughter to feel like the only way she could be successful in a sport is by taking her clothes off.
Yeah.
Like, that would piss me off. And I don't want that. I'm just simply bringing the logical why it's done, not whether or not I actually agree with it or believe in it. Yeah. And I will tell you that in almost all of these cases, I would rather companies like the UFC and all these stuff to just be completely merit-based. Be like, oh, you have a 10-0 record versus the 9-1 argument. 10-0, you get the contract with the higher pay. 9-1, you get a contract with a little bit less pay, until the ratio of those records change that. You know? And it should be like that. It shouldn't be like, well, what's your social media following? Well, we have a very corrupted society, in my opinion, right now. A very society that is valuing the wrong things. but I don't think that you can physically just be like, value the right things to everybody online.
Yeah.
You must value what I value, because it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And everybody's just going to be like, whenever you apply pressure one direction, you almost always get the same amount of applied pressure the other direction.
Yeah.
And it's anybody who goes super hard, like with force to try to fix something, is almost always going to be met with an equal force coming back at them. So in a lot of ways, in my opinion, the best way to go about this is to change the culture into what we like. And I know it's easier said than done, but trying to have conversations with this, trying to understand the problems, trying to understand the motivations behind this, trying to see the reality of it, and then trying to figure out, well, what drives us to these realities, and how do we slowly and in a methodical and intelligent way, without trying to cram a square peg into a round hole, do we fix this issue?
Yeah.
Because I for one, I am not forward, I am not pro the sexualization of women in sports to draw a crowd. From the capitalist side of me, I understand why they do it. But again, coming from the fact that if I had a daughter, would I want her to do that? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I would be pissed, right? Pissed off. But at the same time, it's there's too many people out there who think with their pocketbook, and they think how is this going to make me money? Well, I have this crowd of a bunch of idiots with high testosterone. If I give them this female in this gi, I go back to I don't know how the money model for this works. I don't know what they're looking for here. I haven't really thought it out very well, but we put you in there, or all of these idiots will buy it, and they're thinking they're just seeing the little Scrooge McDuck dollar signs in their eyes, right? That's all they care about. It's just the dollar signs in their eyes right here. And I mean,
unless they're not looking to sell their gis to anybody, they're just looking to be the hot topic of everybody's conversations.
Controversy.
Right now. I don't know.
Controversy. Any attention is good attention in marketing, right? Even if you're the heel, even if you're the bad guy. It's just, but you do have to have somewhat of a moral framework, I think, as a company sometimes to stand on. You can't just be out there just trying to overly sexualize individuals and for a profit.
Yeah.
And I will say, I don't want to come off like a hypocrite right now, but some people who watch this channel and everything like that do know that I'm a photographer, and I do a lot of professional photography, and I have worked with and photographed OF models. I didn't like it. I probably will never do it again. I think it's going against my beliefs in simps and that culture, because I really hate it. My preference in working in photography, honestly, where I get my most love is astrophotography, but there's no money in it. There's no, I can go out, and the thing is that I would have to drive 3 hours, 4 hours every single time I wanted to shoot. Whereas I do get value and I do enjoy art. So I do shoot on occasion models and things like that, doing stuff like that. And some fully clothed, some not fully clothed. And it's usually dependent on what the model wants, not what I want. It's just I want to do this, this, and this, but I will not, I don't do it to sell the sexualization side of it. In fact, I don't make no money at it at all. I choose not to, right? But, and I don't work with any more models who try to make money off of my photography in order to sell their products. All right. That's a kind of a line in the sand that I no longer really want to do. I mean, there's a couple people that we do collaborative work on because they provide a very good and unique artistic vision, and I like to do that. But I don't want it to ever be that way. But that's my foundational line in the sand, right? I'm not looking to do that for that sexual way, but there's a difference between doing it. I'm not saying that sex shouldn't exist.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that you shouldn't be making it for money gains while completely degrading an athlete who has worked her ass off to get where she is.
Yeah.
Right. So, and I just, the only reason I went off on that little tangent right there is because anybody who knows me and knows that I do the photography is going to come at me and be like, you're a hypocrite. You've worked with so-and-so. You've worked with this person. It's like, yeah, that's true. And my brain evolved. I no longer like it. I made a decision to be like, nah, I'm not really for this anymore. So, and I don't really agree with this morally, so I'm not going to go that way anymore. People can have like their minds changed.
It's true.
So
if people would change their minds more often, we'd probably live in a better world.
they would. We would. But it's just an interesting take, and I thought it would be an interesting conversation. But we can kind of wrap it up with this. I think we've kind of nailed down a lot of our ideas on this, but I'd love to hear more of your ideas, what y'all think about this, and whether or not you think this is a good idea or a bad idea. But we'll see you guys on the next one.